It happened in the 90s, when I was 5 or 6 years old. I was living with my mother and older brother in a private house that my grandmother had inherited. I had never noticed anything strange before. Like all children, I went to the nearby kindergarten, where communist education was conducted. Yes, sometimes when no one was there the floorboards creaked, as if someone was walking around the house. Different strange sounds were heard, unlike anything else, but I did not pay any attention to it because I was still small and did not believe in ghosts. And of course, my mother told me different scary stories, but I didn't believe them either. It seemed to me then that she was joking with me. There was one story about a ghost that came to my great-grandmother. My mother told me that great-grandmother lay on her bed and rested, and in the morning the housekeeper came to her and greeted her. "Hello, mistress. How are you?" According to rumors, it is not allowed to answer to the housekeeper, and my great-grandmother was usually silent in response to this monologue. And here's what happened to me. We all slept in the same room. In fact, it was the only room in the house that served us as both a hall and a bedroom. My bed was to the right of the door, my mother's was in the middle of the room, and my older brother's bed was to the left. One night I woke up for some reason and saw a figure standing beside my bed. At first I thought it was my mother getting up to see if I was well covered with the blanket. I glanced at my mother's bed. She was sleeping peacefully with her head covered. So, I thought it was my older brother who had decided to scare me, and now he was standing by the bed like a ghost, not saying anything. I looked at my brother's bed, peering out from behind the dark figure. But my brother was sleeping peacefully in his bed, throwing the blanket away. I was terrified as I looked at the figure. It was a woman. And, according to my understanding, a ghost must be incorporeal, but she was nothing like a ghost, and it was impossible to see anything through her. Nor did she resemble the cloud of steam that I later read a lot about in books. There was this woman in a floor-length skirt and a blouse with huge sleeves hanging down like flesh from the bones of a decomposing dead man. One more thing. I imagined it, or it was real, I can't remember, but she had huge horns on her head. Those horns, now that the internet has come up, I've seen them in drawings depicting demons, but am not sure she represented this mythical creature. I could not see her face because it was dark enough, and I myself was afraid to look at the ghost because I was very frightened, and I obviously did not want to see her angry look or her ugly, inhuman face. I don't remember well anymore, a lot of time had passed, but then I managed to notice that she was standing on a stand, or was it just a game of my sick imagination? I hid under the blanket out of fear and began to shiver. I do not know how long I lay there, but when I finally dared to pull back the blanket and look around, it was morning, and the terrible ghost had disappeared. I told my mother about the apparition, but she just laughed at me, either thinking that I had made it all up or simply didn't believe me, attributing the ghost to hallucinations. But I assure you that it really happened, and I didn't lie to my mother or to anyone to whom I am now telling this story. That happened to me, like the Winchester brothers in Supernatural. I still don't know what the creature was that came to me at night and what it wanted from me. It was silent at the time. In the years that followed, it did not appear to me at all